Hello, good afternoon.
Okay, let's take a look. Since we have a new people here, let me try to do a little bit introduction. Basically, we are using is this book lah. Let's take a look. Okay, so this is Introduction to Buddhism. Basically involves some basic theory and also some history. So this is the introduction to the Buddhism. Then here is the content. So basically from chapter number 1, the Buddha and his Indian context, and we'll go to the chapter number 4, 5, 6. It's the whole book. You can see actually it crossover, a different area regards to history, and also some Buddhism theory will be involved. Since for you, even though you come in the middle way, but it doesn't matter, because for every lesson you can consider it's a general talk, or that will be good enough for you. Okay, so let's take a look. See where were we previously. Okay, so this is where we stop. It's in the page 97. Please flip to the page 97. We are in the part of, let's see, early development in the Buddhism. So let's see, here is the early development of the Buddhism. Chapter number 4 actually where is in the early development of the Buddhism. Yes, Elena, any questions?
Sifu, yeah, actually, you said page 97, we have done it on 31st August already. So today, actually, we should start at page 102.
102, okay, wait,
Yeah.
Okay, 102, let's see. Oh, yes, it should be 102, yes, okay, 102. Okay, 102. Okay, let's take a look. 102, we're in the page 102. Well, basically, we are in this part, is 102, let's see. Teaching history and the practice. It is correct, this one, Elena? 102, meaning to say we're in the, let's see first. Teaching history and the practice, meaning to say chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 4, chapter 5, chapter 6, chapter 7. No, let's see first. Teaching history and the practice. It's in the Emperor Asoka and the Buddhism. We are still in the early development. Let's take a look. It's still in the chapter early development. It's still in the chapter 4. We are still in the chapter 4, early development and the Buddhism. So at this part, we talk about the Abhidhamma, early school and the doctrine, Jataka, Emperor Asoka, Buddhism, and devotion and symbolism in the early Buddhism, and the rise of the Mahayana class, meaning to say basically, now if we talk about the time frame, it's about, I think after Buddha Parinibbana, 200 years before Christ, and then we cross over to the first century. So this is the time frame we try to go through. So what happened during this time frame in Indian and the Kandara, that we see we have a different school of thought and the Jataka, and then we notice that the emperor of Asoka, he is the one who brought the Buddhism and spread it during his ruling. So let's take a look. So we stop here. Then in the previous lesson we talked about the Emperor Asoka and Buddhism. You see, they're reaching most of the Indian subcontinent and also beyond, thus becoming a world religion. So we should be very thankful to the Emperor Asoka. Then he set up a lot of pillars, and it showed that his conquer and also the spreading of the Buddhism. Then here, let's see. It's mentioned that The late orientation of Asoka value is shown by the fact that the ethics refer to the harmonious society and heavenly rebirth as the goal of a good life lived according to the Dharma. So let's take a look. This is we call it as Asoka ethics. Asoka. In Chinese, we call it as 阿育王史书啦。阿育王史书. So this is an Asoka pillar. That it shows, there will be some carving on the pillar. And then the carving mentioned regards the Dharma, the 5 precepts. This is how we know that the spreading of the Buddhism. I remember we was once reached to India. Our tourists tried to play a tune with us. He mentioned that some, the tunnel, the smoke tunnel from a factory. And then he said, oh, this is the Asoka pillar. But actually, no. Where got Asoka pillar come from the factory? So he joked with us. Then later we realized that actually Asoka pillar have a specific features as we see here. Okay, let's go to the next paragraph. Okay, yes, Asoka gave Buddhism. Elena, please. Okay.
Asoka gave Buddhism a central place in his empire, just as the Roman Empire Emperor Constantine, who ruled in 306 to 337 CE, did for Christianity. Nevertheless, he supported not only Buddhist monks and nuns, but also Brahmins, Jain, wanderers, and Ajivika ascetics, in accordance with the pattern that later Buddhist and Hindu rulers also followed. At a time when different religions were in competition for converts, he urged mutual respect and tolerance. He saw all religious tradition as contributing in some way to spiritual development. And his 12-rock edict holds that a common basis for religion is that praising one's own tradition and criticizing others should be held in check. For religious wrangling brings harm both to one's own and others' religion, while mutual respect strengthens both. Nikam and McKeown, 1959. Through the Theravada and Sarasvati schools, both claim a special association with Asoka. He was probably not partial to any Buddhist school, and he discouraged theism. He was, however, interested in the purity of the Sangha and may have assisted in purging of lax monks. In his pilgrimage to Buddhist sites, Asoka erected shrines and memorial pillars. According to later legendary accounts, he also opened up the original 10 stupas and distributed their relics in many new ones throughout India, thus helping to popularize the cult of devotion to stupas. During his reign, Buddhist monastery activities was considerable. Theravadian sources record that the monk Tisa Mogaliputra sent out parties of monks to a number of border areas. Asokan edicts also record that the emperor sent out embassies to a number of foreign lands, for he wished to spread the ideas he followed, a conquest by Dhamma, rather than a military conquest. To the northwest, embassies were sent as far as Syria, Egypt, and Macedonia, though there is no record of their having arrived there. To the east, they went to Suvarnabhumi, probably the Hmong country of the Lower Burma or Central Thailand. To the south, they went to the South Indian kingdoms and also to the island of Ceylon. The relationship between the missions and the embassies is not clear, but monks could well have accompanied the embassies, and there was clearly a cooperation in the case of Ceylon. Here in around 250 BCE, a mission headed by Asoka's own son, the Arahat monk Mahinda, was very successful in implementing what was to become known as the Theravada form of Buddhism.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yeah, please raise hand once you finish. Elena, okay? Done? Okay, so class, for this particular part, we should go through, in regards to the Gandhara, Asoka. Okay, Gandhara, Asoka. Yeah, class, let's take a look. So this is the map of Indian. We're trying to look for this. You see, class. So this is the one where we are able to see. This is the Gandhara, class. Actually, it's just somewhere near the Pakistan here. Okay, somewhere near the Pakistan here. And then here, class, we see a lot of stupa here. And then we see this is the symbol of Asoka. Meaning to say Asoka try to spreading the Dharma throughout, the whole places. Okay. Well, according we know, basically, Asoka sent a lot of embassy and monk during his reign. Okay. And then, according to just now what we read. Okay, he sent a monk. Will go to the east part, and the west is reached until to the Thailand, and then also he sent to the west part and the north part, and also the south part. Basically, the south part is the most famous one. He sent his son, who is Mahinda. According here, mentioned is the Arhat Mahinda, and this is how the starting of the Theravada Buddhism until now. The way I see, Asoka is very smart. He is doing a good investment because he create a very good portfolio. Meaning to say that he don't put all the egg in the one basket. Also, some he sent to the Gandhara. We call it as Reverend Majanti, and in the south he sent is Asoka. Is the Mahinda. Actually, in just now I mentioned a few places, including the west and the east. He also sent differently. But until today, we notice that the best investment with a good with a good return is still sending those to the Sri Lanka, because until now the Sri Lanka Theravada flourishing. No matter, and then it also spreading to the Thailand, Myanmar, no matter. The meditation method and also the Tripitaka. So meaning to say, this is the one, a very successful investment. And then nowadays, we notice that this part is it's very crucial for us. If you compare other part, the investment to the Gandhara, Pakistan is good, especially in Wafa. Two schools. One is Savastivada, another one, Savastivada, and also mainly it's the Savastivada Dela. But anyway, what we see now, just the Sutra and the Abhidhamma. This is there's a big part of this type of Sutra and Abhidhamma have been brought by the Xuanzhuang and Faxian back to the China. So this is a second good investment. But we don't see any monk from Savastivada. We just see the influence of the Savastivada in Tibetan Buddhism only. So class, let's take a look. So this is the best investment. It's still go to the Sri Lanka. Second is a lot of Abhidhamma and also the Sutra is in this part, Pakistan. And then we don't know. Once Xuanzhuang traveled from China, he might be pick up all the Sutra, the Tripitaka from here and come to Nalanda, and from Nalanda he go back again to the China. But we're quite sure that since Asoka sent some, embassy and a monk to this part, and the Buddhism flourishing in Pakistan, Afghanistan, about 1,000 years plus before, the raise up from the Muslim is very strong until to the Xinjiang. Okay, so this is how we appreciate Asoka. And according to the text, let's take a look. Asoka is the one who encouraged the unity of the Sangha community. Yes, let's see here. So it's about the time, this is, we call it as Asoka. Okay, at that time, during in Kandahar, we see different religions, Buddhists, Jains, all together here. And then besides, he said, he preferred them praise own tradition and criticize others should be held in check. He tried to ban them. And then in Kandahar, we see Theravada and Saraswati school. Both will claim association with the Asoka. So, of course, because everybody claim association with Asoka. Of course, both are associated with Asoka because he is very influential. Okay, class, anyway, you see, what it mentioned the places Asoka with the different religions, Buddhist, Jainism, okay, Hinduism, okay, and then even though Buddhist school, actually, we know this Mahayana also in there. Then the Theravada and the Saraswati, okay. So this is the ancient Gandhara, the area crossover Pakistan and Afghanistan and a little bit Kashmir. Now it gone already, but this is the ancient Kandahar. Have you ever noticed that actually the modern Kandahar appeared already? Mr. Leong, you think where is the modern Gandhara, which is quite similar feature with the ancient Gandhara? Where is this, Mr. Leong?
No idea.
No idea.
Maybe Kashmir. Maybe Kashmir.
Kashmir, no lah. Mr. Leong, where are you staying?
I say Shah Alam.
You are staying in the Klang Valley. Hey, Mr. Leong, don't you notice that in Klang Valley, we see the Mahayana, we see the Theravada, we see the Hinduism, we see the Muslim. Don't you notice that?
Yeah, all mixed here.
Yes, meaning to say that modern Kandahar, we can know this, is in Malaysia, Klang Valley. See, yeah,
Yes.
right, Mr. Leong. Exactly the same. So, Mr. Leong, I suspect maybe you are reincarnated from Pakistan and reborn here and continue this type of the mixture, Rojak Buddhism. Am I right?
Mahayana lah.
You are Mahayana mixed Theravada. So, Malaysia Yana. Am I right?
So it's a Mahayana.
Yeah, Yana. Yeah, you see, not meaning to say that the history keep on repeating and repeating. You know this or not? You notice actually it's the same, you see. But at that time, with the influence of the king, and then he's spreading the Buddhism. Why? Okay, why? All schools try to relate themselves with the king because the king at that time is the most powerful people to spreading the religion. Okay, during my trip to the Pakistan, in the 15th century, the first mosque has been established in the north part of the Pakistan, and it also signifies that the beginning of the extinction of the Buddhism also. Why? Because they have successfully to convince the king to become a Muslim, and with the help of the king, very soon, he tried to convert all the population become the Pakistan. So since 1600, the whole Pakistan totally become Muslim, and you never see a Buddhist anymore. See or not? That's why everybody, all religions you want to survive, you want to sustain, you have to make friend with a king. And also at the same time, king will make friend to you because they will manipulate the religions to control the people. See or not? This is our relationship between the religions and the rulers. You can date it. From Asoka time and into the China, I think anywhere is the same. I believe other religion like Christian, Jews, all must involve the ruler in order to spread the religion. Okay. 所以我哋個個都係埋身睇皇帝嘅面色做人，知係乜？OK So let's take a look. Some more point. He said Asoka. One more thing is he erect the shrine and also the pillar and also open up the original stupa and the relics throughout the India So class, you attend my class, right? To sharing to the Pakistan. So the stupa, I show you before that type of the stupa and I believe the Taxila. I already discovered relics in the Taxila Museum, which is from the Tamarachika stupa. I believe that is also from Asoka. Okay, let's see. This is the Taxila Museum. Okay, the relics of the Buddha. Relic of the Buddha. So I think yes, this is the Taxila Museum. This is the one. This is the one. It's a real relics. And this is from the stupa from the Tamarachika. Stupa in the Tamarachika. Tamarachika is the Taxila. Basically, they try to bury the relics under the stupa. Yeah, see, this is the one. And then, as a monk, we all will meditate surrounding the stupa because the relics is really keep on emitting the energy. So basically, Mr. Leong asked me, Sifu, you sit there, how is the energy? I say, no energy because the relics have been taken out and put to the museum, so we should meditate in the museum, but not in the Tamarachika side. People thought they should go and do chanting there. A lot of Theravada monks, they spend 6 hours chanting in the Tamarachika. But I don't think it's the wise move. You should chant in the museum because the relics have been moved there. All the energy is there. You can feel it. Okay. So I think we have to have been thankful to the Asoka. So I think that is really Buddha relics. Very strong the energy. Okay. Then next, let's take a look. Well, according to the Theravada source, they mentioned that this Mongaliputa sent out the monk also to the other border, meaning to say our Buddhists they are very smart. They create a very thorough portfolio to the spreading of the Buddhists. They are very smart. Okay, you see, in east, the south, northwest, it reached to the Syria, Egypt, Macedonia before. But this one we don't know We really don't know. We don't see any traces of the Buddhism there. Okay, so Mahayana is the most successful, as I mentioned. So nowadays, why Mr. Leong can become Malaysia-yana? Actually, Mahayana is begin also in we call it as Andhra Pradesh, the middle part of Indian, and spreading. And this is where the Andhra Pradesh, especially regards to the Prajna. Let's see. So this is Andhra Pradesh. Andhra Pradesh, this part of India. Yeah, according to the history of Buddhism, this is the Andhra Pradesh. So from here, the Buddhism, the Mahayana Buddhism, especially the Prajna, they spread to come to here, to this part. And then from here, Pakistan, Kandahar, is spread to the China. So this is how the Mahayana spread to the China, and from China come to Malaysia. And then Bahinda, Theravada from Sri Lanka spread to the Myanmar, Thailand, and then they come to Malaysia. Then all three of the tradition they met in Malaysia. Again, you see, about 1,000 years ago, they met in Kandahar. But of course, not the Theravada, but it's from the Sawastiwada. They all met here. They all met here before. Okay, let's take a look. Now we go to the next part: devotion and symbolism in the early Buddhism. Kenyang, can you please read for us? Asoka espouser.
Asoka, espouser of Buddhism, helped it to develop as a popular religion. The faith-oriented development that is that these involved were a complement to the wisdom orientation expressed in the works of Abhidhamma. One can see this as having appeared respectively to the kind of people who might become faith followers and Dharma followers. Prior to popularization of Tupa cult, it is probable that the main focus on devotion was the tree under which the Buddha attained awakening, and others grown from its cuttings or seeds. These became known as Bodhi or awakening trees, and were greatly revered both as reminders of the Buddha's awakening and as tangible links with his great spiritual powers. Building on pre-Buddhist tree worship, devotion at such a tree was expressed by making offerings such as flowers at an altar at its base, by typing panels to it and watering it. Clockwise circumambulation was also performed, an act which signified that what was walked around symbolized something ideally at the center of a person's life. The Buddhist stupa probably developed from pre-Buddhist burial mound for kings, heroes, and saints, which go back into prehistory in many cultures. They became important in Buddhism due to the holy relics, Pali Sarira, Sanskrit Sarira, they contain. They are symbolizing the Buddha and his parinirvana, passing into final nirvana at death. And in some cases, their location at significant sites. Relics were an important focus of devotion in early Buddhism. They have remained so since then. The importance of devotion to them was emphasized in the Avadanas. Relics placed in stupas are said to have been those of Gautama, Arahats, and even of past Buddhas. Having been part of the body of an awakened being, they were considered to have been infused with something of the power for goodness of an awakened mind, and to bring blessings to those who express devotion in their vicinity, where funerary relics could not be found. Hair or possession of holy beings, copies of bodily relics or possessions of Buddhist texts came to be used in their praise. The best preserved ancient Buddhist stupa, dating from the 1st centuries in its present form, at Sanchi in central India. It was built over stupa dating from the 3rd century, which may have been built or embellished by Ashoka. The 4 gateways or toranas place the stupa symbolically at the crossroads, as the Buddha had specified, perhaps to indicate the openness and universality of the the Dharma. Carved reliefs on the gateway depict Jataka tales, along with symbolic indications of previous Buddhas and events in Gautama's final life. The circular Vedika or railing marks off the site dedicated to the stupa and enclosed the first of 2 paths for circumambulation, pradakisana pata. The stupa dome referred to in early texts as the kumbha or pot is the outermost container of the relics. It is associated with an Indian symbol known as the vase of plenty and symbolically act as reminder of an enlightened being as full of uplifting dharma.
Thank you so
On top of the
Okay, stop. Thank you. Okay, Elena. Okay, so from the three paragraph which was read by Ken Yang, it mentioned that actually the devotion to the stupa is quite later. Before we have a devotion to the stupa, usually we pay respect to the body tree as a symbol to commemorate and also do meditations. Okay, to commemorate the virtue of the Buddha. But later on, with the establishment of the stupa, according to them, actually stupa is not it's not really belongs to us. We mentioned stupa carve, meaning to say in the early stage, this type of stupa culture we absorb from other one in Buddhism. But the key point is the key point is the contain of relics inside the stupa. That is the most important thing for us because especially the sanchi mentioned is the considered most stupa. In the present form, you see, it's a sanchi stupa, very famous. So this is a kumbha, like a dome for a mosque. You see it now. Actually, this is where they put the relics here. Okay, the kumbha, and we call it circumambulation path, meaning to say by clockwise they do the walking meditation clockwise. This is a different gate. Four maybe represent four noble truths or somewhat. Usually the building signifies certain thing. Nowadays, Sanchi Stupa we can see in the picture. Actually, I've been there before, class. Because as we know, Sanchi Stupa is commemorate Shariputra or Moggallana. I remember at that time. So let's take a look. This is the Sanchi Stupa. It's still in a very good form. Originally, stupa is in this way, you see not? And the gate is like this. Okay, I've been there before. I remember the weather is so cold, and our abbot, because he doesn't bring enough clothes, so he is shaking. Remember, so we're all connect together. But anyway, I think the Sharia is not available there. They have been taken out already. So just the site for us to have a visit. So this is regards the stupa. Okay, class, let's take a look to the condensed. I see here it says stupa. Okay, it says Asoka also helped in what the work of Abhidhamma. Yes, according to the Asoka, regards class, do you remember the sastra of the Mahavaibhasika from Savastivada? You remember this Mahavaibhasika, which is a 200 volume, very big, from Savastivada. Elena, can you remember this? Ta Pipo Salun. Don't remember how. Actually, this one under sponsorship of a Kaniska king. So because this is dated back to about 4th century. So Kaniska king, he is learning Dharma every day, and a different monk pay visit to him. But all monk comes with a different story. So he said, under my sponsorship, so I want to compare it. So he asking one of the representative from the monk. He tried to gather all the monk total of 500 arahant to compile the Mahavaibhasika. So this is the one which is the signature for the signature for the Savastivada. So class, please write down. This is also under the sponsorship of the king, so the Mahavaibhasika able to be produced. Okay, Mahavaibhasika. Let's see first. Let me start with the Mandarin first. Yes, Mahavibhasha Sastra. Sorry, it's the Mahavibhasha Sastra. Mahavibhasha Sastra. Yes, please write down Mahavibhasha, Abhidhamma Mahavibhasha Sastra. It's with the help of the Kaniska, King Kaniska. So this is the highest, the most important version for a Savastivada. Okay, class, it's translated to English already. Yes. Okay. So this is the text, especially for a Savastivada. Okay. With the help of the Kaniska king. But here he mentioned again, actually Asoka also helped in the Abhidhamma. Okay. Then let's see all we have gone through before. Okay, one thing is here, the importance of devotion to them was emphasis in the Avadana. What is the Avadana? Basically, Avadana is the Jataka story relates to the Shakyamuni. Avadana. Let's see. Avadana. Avadana. Literature connect a person virtue did the past lives, past life even to the subsequent life. Avadana. So that is the meaning of, we call it as like the Jataka story, Avadana. It's one form of the Buddhism scripture. But basically, if you talk about the authenticity of the information, Avadana is not top ranking. Usually, like Samyutta Nikaya, they are the top ranking information for the reliability. Because a lot of story, so the story could be mixture of some local culture and maybe involve some fabrication. Sometimes the story aiming to teach people for being good, but the reliability is secondary. It's not the prime part. It's a secondary. But whereas for the Nikaya, they are the major information, and the reliability must be high, and accuracy also very high. So this is how we view our information, our Pali Canon Tripitaka, our Tripitaka. Okay, then let's take a look. You see, let's talk about the Sanchila. Now you see, it's again the calf relief depict the Jataka's tails. Jataka tails. I think you also most of the Buddhism, I mean especially Theravada, you will see the wall, they will depict the Jataka tails. Jataka tails also seem like Avadana is regarding the story of the Buddha for a past life. Okay, so this is what we mentioned here. And next, on top of the Sanchi Stupa, Mr. Leong, can you please read? Please try and read, Mr. Leong.
On top of the Sanchi Stupa is a pole and disc, which represents ceremonial parasols. As parasols were used as insignia of royalty in India, their inclusion on stupas can be seen as a way of symbolizing the spiritual sovereignty of the Buddha. The kingly connection probably derives from the ancient custom of rulers sitting under a sacred tree at the center of a community to administer justice, with mobile parasols later replacing such shading trees. The parasol structure on stupas also seems to have symbolized the Buddhist sacred tree, which in turn symbolized awakening. This is suggested by the 2nd century BCE stone relief of a stupa, which shows it surmounted by a tree with parasol-shaped leaves. The structure at the base of the pole and disc has also been found on a number of stupas to have resembled the design of Bodhi tree enclosures. In the later stupas, the top part fused into a sphere, and several platforms were often added under the dome to elevate it in a horrific way. It then became possible to see each layer of the structure as symbolizing a particular set of spiritual qualities, such as the 4 right efforts, with the spire symbolizing the powers and knowledge of a Buddha. Stupas are now often known by the term pagoda, probably a corruption of Dagaba, the term used in Sri Lanka, which derives from Pali Dutta Gaba, a container of the Buddha's element. A notable feature of early representations of Gautama, even before his awakening, is that he is only shown by symbols, such as a Dharma wheel above an empty throne with footprints in front of it, a significant space suggesting the calm and stillness of the Buddha's mind, and nirvana as the supreme emptiness. This must have been due to the feeling that the profound nature of one nearing or having attained Buddhahood could not be accurately represented by a human form. Even contemporary Brahmanism only portray minor gods in non-symbolic ways.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Mr. Leong, this is the Datu Kappa. Just now you read Dutta Kappa. Datu.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, class is still related to the pagoda. You see, you say in the top, symbolizing the spiritual serenity, and also the parasol structure symbolize awakening. Let's take a look. So this is it doesn't show clearly where is the top. We can see it's here. You see the top pole and the parasol. This it show what. It shows the spiritual serenity. But the parasol structure, we don't know which part is it. The parasol structure. Mr. Leong, can you tell which part is the parasol structure? Mr. Leong?
Sorry, Sifu, I'm not sure.
You're not sure, Yes, I shouldn't asking a driver regarding the architecture. Am I right? I'm asking the wrong people, meaning to say. Right? Kenyang, what are you studying now? What course are you studying now?
I'm in IT field.
IT field also. Very unrelated. No right person to ask here. Okay, never mind. We just...
Sifu,
Yes.
Sifu, I think it's the crown of the stupa.
Which part?
Representing.
Which part of stupa? Never mind, your Wi-Fi is bad. Okay, let's continue. You see. Then one more thing is to talk about that. Actually,
The crown.
the crown. There's a parasol disc. Is a parasol disc means the parasol structure on the stupa? Possible lah, I think the crown possible. It signifies the spiritual. Okay. Then next, let's take a look. We talk about that. Before, I think this is a good point that I remember as a Buddhist in ancient time, they will pay homage to the Dharma wheel. Okay, Dharma wheel, or maybe and the footprint also. Dharma wheel and the footprint of the Buddha. Footprint of the Buddha. Footprint of the Buddha. This is before the sculpture of the Buddha had been introduced and absorbed from the Rome culture. And I think it's a good reason why we don't create a human form, because the virtue of Buddhahood, none of the human can really, surpasses the virtue of the Buddha. You see, here it said, couldn't adequately represent by the human form. So using the footprint Dharma wheel is the best way to represent the profound nature of the Buddha. But later on, it starts to develop. Okay. Yes, Elena, in time.
In time, the absence of the long-dead Buddha was keenly felt, and there arose a need for representation of him in human form to act as a more personalized focus of devotion. The development of Buddha images in the 2nd century CE was preceded by the practice of visualizing the Buddha's form as seen, where a monk reverently kept a clear image of the Buddha in mind. This was one way to practice mindful recollection of the Buddha and his qualities. The period when images developed was also one in which a change in mood was affecting all Indian religions, leading to the portrayal of the founder of Jainism and of major Hindu gods as focus of bhakti, or warm, loving devotion. In Buddhism, this change had also led to the composition of more thorough sacred biographies of the Buddha and contributed to the origin of the Mahayana. The craftsmen who make this first Buddha image drew on tradition that Gautama has been born with 32 characters of a great man, which indicated that he would become either a Buddha or Chakravartin. These bodily features are described as karmic results of a specific spiritual perfection built up in past life. The most obvious one shown on the Buddha images is Gautama's turban head, meaning that he had a head shaped like a royal turban, or that one with spiritual vision could see a royal turban on his head. However, interpreted artistic portrayals first hide it under top knot of hair, and then show it as a protuberance on the top of the head. The sutta see it as a result of previous morals and spiritual prominence. Later texts see it as a kind of wisdom bump to accommodate a Buddha's supreme wisdom. A feature of Buddha images not among the characteristic is the elongated earlobes. This signifies Gautama's royal upbringing, when he wore heavy gold earrings, thus his renunciation of the option of political greatness. They may also be seen as a common symbol for nobility of character, or indicative of the Buddha's divine ear, a meditation-based psychic ability. Buddha images seems to have been first produced within the empire of Kanishka I, which was in the region of modern Afghanistan, Pakistan, and northwest India. This occurred at about the same time in Gandhara, a Western region in which the images were influenced by Hellenistic Greek art, and in the Indian city of Mathura. While the early images were somewhat faltering as spiritual statements, in time the craftsmen were able to express many spiritual qualities in stone. Early Buddha images were also made in Andhra Desa, a region of southeast India which had Amaravati as its capital. The earliest extant images from here were made about a century after the earliest ones, surviving from Mathura and Gandhara. They developed what became the standard way of showing the Buddha's head and hair, in which the Unisa, undisguised by a mound of hair, is clearly portrayed as part of the head, and the whole scalp is covered in small snail shell spirals of hair, recalling one of the 32 characteristics, that of the body hair curling in rings to the right. Later Buddha images developed an interaction of the three styles described above, and by sculptors improving their art. It was in the Gupta period, 320 to 540 CE, that the classical Buddha image was produced in India. A fine example of such an image is shown in plate 2. It has life, vigor, and grace, and its features suggest joy, compassion, wisdom, serenity, and meditative concentration. It expresses qualities attained by someone at the goal of Buddhism and was intended to help stimulate the growth of such quality in one who contemplates it.
Okay, thank you so much.
Welcome.
Elena, this we pronounce as Usnisala. Usnisala. Okay, Elena, finish. Okay, so let's take a look, class. Now we still talk about, the devotion. You see, basically, the missing of the Buddha is the origin of the Mahayana from Reverend Yin Sun. He believed that why the beginning of the earliest Mahayanis is due to the devotion, the missing of the Buddha. And then from here, the Buddha sculpture, Buddha image start to appear. So this is how we try to guess it out at that situation. Well, basically, once we talk about all this of the image, okay, it involves 32 parts of the body. A few 32 parts of the body. Number one is regarding to the Buddha curly hair. Buddha, 32 parts, 32 marks. So this is the 32 mark of the body. Just now, which has been extensively discussed, is regarding this, the head. So this is the part. This is the part. We make it symbolize as the wisdom. The palm represent the wisdom. But of course, they will explain in a different way. And the earlobe, you see, it come down, and we mentioned that it is a divine ear, represent the divine ear. And all the 32 marks of the in the Buddha body, actually some suggest it might be copied from all the best animals features. So they copy down and to make it become a Buddha. Okay, but frankly speaking, if let's say we really get all the 32 part of the most beautiful part to the human, okay, I think we look very terrible. Just like Elena, you want to do some operation on your face, maybe you get the eye, the nose, and the mouth from a different Miss World. When you put together, it will look very horrible. Same on Buddha. Actually, it will look very horrible. The ear, you see, ear look come to the down here, and the eye is the blue color. Okay, and the tongue can cover the whole face. You see, all is the feature from the animals. Some is explainable, some which is unexplainable. So you see, have a look. It's one more terminology is regarding the Chakravartin, because Chakravartin also possesses 31 part of the 31 mark of the body, but Buddha got 32 marks, but Chakravartin got 31 mark. Chakravartin is some sort like a ruler during ancient times. So this is the wisdom balm we mentioned and the elongated earlobes. Okay, then you see Buddha image when it start is Kaniska 1. Okay, so the Gandhara is, as we mentioned here, you see, so this is the Gandhara. Kushan dynasty. This is the Gandhara. This part is the Gandhara. So the Kanishka one, once they try to conquer the Gandhara, and at the same time, okay, the Rom dynasty start to develop here too. So there will be some culture exchange. So we end up that we absorb, the arts of the sculpture inside to the Buddhists. Then how do we start the Buddha image? And he mentioned that Buddha image also in the Antraratesh. How do we know that? Class, if let's say we try to write something, to compare something, you see. So this is the Gandhara Buddha statue. And also the Gandhara Rome Senior. So this is the Gandhara, okay, Buddhism structure. How do we know it was influenced by the Rome culture? Because we can write down Rome Senior, okay, Rome Senior, Gandhara influence, and to try to compare the sculpture. Let's take a look. Okay, room elder, but this one is the naked one. So I want to show one which is not naked one. You see, now you see, this is the feature from the art influences. Usually, I can't see. Usually it's naked, but usually it show. How strong is the body. Usually the cloth is very close. Close to the skin, okay, very close to the skin. You are able to see the muscle. You see, I can't find a good comparison from here. I can't get it. But basically, I have discovered that some of the the senior Rome statue, besides the head, the rest of the part is really like a Rome people, Rome senior. And let's take a look. Okay, but he said actually some early Buddha image are also made in the Antradesa. Antradesa. Let's see Antradesa. 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 No place is Antradesa here. We can't get it. No place is Antradesa. But according here is somewhere in the Amravati. Then he said the sculpture improving the arts during the Gupta period. Later 320 to 540, and the Buddha statue is become more features suggest the joy. We try to compare. So this is the Gandhara period, okay? Then we try to write the Gupta period. Gupta period. Buddha sculpture. This is the Gupta period. Yeah, I think, is it significant? Elena, how do you see? It is better improved. This is from Gandhara. After about 100 years, this is the Gupta arts.
They don't look more like Western people only. More Western features.
But Elena, do you see that the face shows some joy, compassion, and wisdom? It is obvious. Obvious or not?
Quite obvious.
Quite obvious, right? Quite obvious.
I think so. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about the Gandhara? Do you see the Gandhara from the Gandhara face show The joy, compassion.
Sadness.
Sad lah. Yes, okay, but very obvious is the Westerner face, is for the Gandhara sculpture. So meaning to say that this is how we see the change of the Buddha face. Then he said it helps to stimulate the growth of such quality in one who contemplate. Meaning to say, class, if you do the meditation, you try to contemplate with this type of the face, with full of compassion and wisdom, later on, you also will create compassion and wisdom in your heart. So we don't use a horrible face to contemplate, but we use a wisdom face. This is why in Tibetan Buddhism, sometimes they're using a very, how to say, like this to contemplate. This is, the later development in the Tibetan Buddhism. This is the one. Yeah, this is the one, you see. It looks very angry, right? But Tibetan Buddhism, they say, this is the, how to say, this is a transformation of the Buddha. So they also visualize it. But I think has to be very careful because it looks so angry. Yeah, the longer you visualize, later on, you become angry again. This is why we don't use the Dharma protector, which is the very anger face. Preferably, we're using a more compassionate face from the Bodhisattva to do the contemplation. Okay, next, let's take a look. Some more paragraph, let's see. One more paragraph. This is the Buddha sculpture, see? It shows again. Then the rise of the Mahayana. Okay, let's continue. The last paragraph. Yes, Kenya, can you please read?
Images of the Buddha came to show him in a variety of positions, seated cross-legged, standing, walking, or lying down on his right side, in sleep or on his deathbed, and with a variety of hand gestures, especially showing him turning the Dharma wheel, reasoning, urging fearlessness, meditating or touching the earth just before his awakening. This was to show him at different key events in his life, show different sides of his nature, and of course to be focused for inspiring devotion.
Let's continue the rise of the Mahayana, please.
The movement which became known as the Mahayana started to arise sometime before 150 BCE and 100 CE as the culmination of various earlier developments. Its origin is not associated with any named individual, nor was it uniquely linked to any early school or fraternity. Through it drew on both Mahasamgika and Sarvastivadin trends, and its philosophical ideals in India both built on critiques Sarvastivada Abhidhamma as a kind of Sarvastivada plus. It may have arisen at around the same time in the southeast and northeast. Reginald Ray suggests it started among forest meditators of the southeast and was then taken up especially in the northwest. It has three main ingredients. First, a wholehearted adoption of the Bodhisattva path, which various early schools has outlined. Secondly, a new cosmology arising from visualization, practices devoutly directed at the Buddha as a glorified, transcendent being. These first two relate respectively to the concerns of the Jatakas and the Avadanas. Thirdly, a new perspective on Abhidhamma which derived from meditative insight into the deep emptiness of phenomena, and it led to a new philosophical outlook. These three ingredients respectively emphasize compassion, faith, and wisdom. They develop a new orientation to traditional Buddhist teachings and an upsurge of novel interpretation whose gradual systematization established the Mahayana as a movement with an identity of its own.
Thank you so much.
The,
Okay. Elena, okay? Okay, so for this picture, you see or not, this is, I think, is during when, let's see, sitting in the Dharma wheel, okay, we don't know, it's about 5th or 6th century, I think it's about the Gupta, after the Gupta maybe, 5th or 6th century. And then usually the Buddha statue can have a different mudra and have a different posture. Then now we come to the Mahayana. So actually Mahayana is between 150 before Christ and 100th century. Basically, where is the Mahayana from? Okay, according to the author, I think I agree also, it doesn't come from a specific people, but it had drawn the trends from Sarvastivada and the Mahasamgika. Meaning to say that, I remember very well, at that time, the Sarvastivada, they become a scholar and they just hide themselves, do all the analysis in the Abhidhamma. So it makes a movement which realized that this will make an ending to the Dharma. So another group of people with the influence by the Mahasamgika, they critique the Sarvastivada and they rise up with the Bodhisattva, raise up the Mahayana. But the Mahayana integrate quite some features. Number one is about the Bodhisattva path. Number second is regarding, the meditation. They might be origin from a group of the meditator. Remember that. Mahayana doesn't signify Amitofo or Yaosifo. It doesn't mean that. At that early stage, Mahayana is a group or a monk who quite emphasize on meditation, on the prajna. So this is the second one. The third one is the visualization of the Buddha. So meaning to say, this is how the Mahayana starting. From the orthodox way, usually they say Mahayana is, we check the origin of the Mahayana is from Mahayana Sutra. And Mahayana Sutra is Buddha's saying. This is usually like that. And usually Mahayana Sutra was not mentioned, was not compiled during first, second, third council in India. It might be compiled in other places. Okay? But some they say Mahayana is come from a movement, as the author suggests. I think for us, no matter how, we still have faith in Mahayana. Of course, right, Elena? You still have faith, even though it's not. Even though it's not every word from Buddha mouth, but we believe that most of the condensed, as long as it is correlates to the Nikaya and Abhidhamma, then we believe this is from the Buddha saying. It is the Buddha saying. So this is how we talk about the Mahayana, how it developed. This is from perspective from a philosophical way. Meaning to say anything developed must become from all the condition to form up. Well, I agree. The teaching, because from Mahayana teaching, we notice that Mahayana teaching, like from the Nagarjuna, he keep on mentioning that many things actually have been mentioned in the Abhidhamma, in Sarvastivada. So here, I ignore it. Nagarjuna is a very important figure who initiated Mahayana. A group of the meditator emphasize on the emptiness. And they are in the southeast part, Andhra Pradesh, and also southern part, northwest part also got some Mahayana traces of the origin from there also. So this is, I think this is the class for today. So class, take a look. I already covered everything here already. Okay. Yes, we got a new classes for the meditation for beginner Chinese. 46 intake. Anyone you could introduce? Elena, Mr. Leong, and Ken Yang. December 11. Anyone you can introduce? We don't have enough people yet. Elena, 冇人好介紹啊？可以拉都拉到晒咗係咪 ？Mr. Leong，仲有人可以介紹冇啊？喂。Your Wi-Fi is bad.
Hello.
Ken Yang，仲有人可以介紹冇？Ken Yang。
Bring in your classmates.
Yeah, I think most of his classmates have been tapped by ED already. Okay, never mind. Just try to distribute it help out with this for distribution. Okay, please palms together. I wish to inculcate more favorable consciousness. Through transferring merit. To my past life enemy and relative.
May
they be liberated.
May they be liberated.
And free from suffering.
and
and
free
free from suffering,
attain Nibbana,
attain
attain
Nibbana,
and helping others to do the same.
and
and
helping others to do the same.
Yes, Mr. Leong?
Thank you, Sifu, for today's lessons. Let's give Sifu 3 respects. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Bye-bye.